and breaking and entering is huge, as well as the robbery rate, which is exorbitant. Fraud is a major issue, as is impaired driving. Drug offenses are up all across the board. About the only positive thing you can say is that the youth crime is only
Welcome back to another reaction video. This is a Canadian reaction video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're reacting to the most dangerous small towns in Canada.
Most dangerous? What is making them dangerous?
I think we have done most beautiful small towns, most beautiful small mountain towns, most fastest growing towns in Canada. Let's find out the most dangerous small town.
In Canada.
In Canada. Eventually, we're going to find out the most dangerous cities. Yeah, let's see the other side of Canada too.
Okay.
You know what? Strap in. Let's lift off. This is Lift Off.
This is Canada,
Oh,
a
yeah.
land made up of a few big cities and lots of small towns. And today we're going to focus on those small towns and talk about their crime. Something unique to Canada, unlike other countries in this hemisphere, is that the small towns tend to be more crime-ridden than the big cities. This cannot be said about the United States and Mexico. So we're going to be using stats from the year 2020 and indexing them in what is called a CSI score, Crime Severity Index.
Okay.
A CSI score includes all these different categories that you see on the screen. All this
Okay.
crime data is straight from Statistics Canada and is the latest data as of this exact moment. All the cities and towns on this list have to have under 100,000 people based off the latest census data from 2016. So in short,
Okay.
all the statistical information in this video is straight from the Canadian federal government. This has been the most requested video on this channel, so if you like this stuff, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below, hit the bell notification. If you don't like this stuff, well then go support our other videos. We got tons of that stuff and nobody watches them. Let's begin and check out the most dangerous small towns and cities in Canada. As we go into this video, it's important to remember that the most dangerous major city in Canada had a CSI score of 133. Full details of that can be seen in this other video on our channel. The average CSI score in Canada is an 82 score. And just before we get into the top 10, let's check out the cities that didn't make the top 10. In
Okay.
15th was the city of Langley, BC, with a CSI score
Langley,
of
British
154. In 14th was Lethbridge, Alberta, with a score of
Lethbridge.
159. In 13th was Prince George in British Columbia, with a score of 164. Number 12 was Dawson Creek, with a score of 166.
British Columbia again.
Lloydminster, which straddles the Alberta and Saskatchewan border, is 11th, with a score of 166. Now we'll go more in depth with our top 10, starting with number 10. For
Question, like, it seems to be coming from West Canada, most of the towns.
Yeah.
What the hell, West Canada?
Nobody. What is happening?
British Columbia collected all the, like, almost 4 of the 5. That's okay. British Columbia, I still love you. Don't worry about it. Let's use this video and redeem you.
We'll go more in depth with our top 10, starting with number 10. Far up north in northern British Columbia is the town of Terrace, with a score of 167 and a population of 12,373 people. One thing you'll know is if you ever visit this place is that it's very remote. You're in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by forests and mountains. Prince George, the nearest big city, if you will, is 575 kilometers away, which is about a 6.5 hour drive, possibly 7 hours. So you have a lot of people concentrated in this small town, and not a lot of jobs. And what do people do when they're bored? Oh, they turn to crime, apparently. Crime looks ridiculously bad, especially proportionately. Property crime is 400% above the national average, violent crime is 247% above the national average, and total crime is 362% above the national average. There were 3,846 total incidents reported in the town. The biggest crime appears to be property crimes, followed by violent crimes. Yikes. And sadly, over the past 3 years, crime has been getting worse in Terrace, not getting better. Drug use is a very common issue, as well as youth violence. According to data from 2020, there was only one homicide, but if you were to look at their local media, news outlets report of bodies quite often, including a lot of missing persons around the city. So who knows how realistic this statistic actually is.
That's crazy, bro. That's scary.
Really damn scary.
It is scary. But anyways, no matter how bad in Canada, it is
Can
worse
never
elsewhere.
reach
It can never be like here. So, we just want to see like how bad these Canadian cities they get.
Time for number 9. Grand Prairie in Alberta. With a score of 173, high crime and high drug usage are the main issues in Grand Prairie. And sadly, it's been...
People use drugs in Canada.
Like,
It's a question though, but yeah, don't crucify me for that. It's not something I usually think of.
High drug usage are the main issues in Grand Prairie. And sadly, it's been getting worse over the last 5 years, no matter how much money the province has been throwing at it. A few statistics that really stood out to me were that 907 per 100,000 people were a victim of fraud. Almost 700 people per 100,000 were also involved in a breaking and entering crime. And 700 people per 100,000 were involved in some sort of assault. That's a lot. Not to mention an unemployment rate of over 10%, an increase of 76% from 2011. Even prior to the worldwide pandemic, their unemployment was 9.6%. Something unique to Grand Prairie is that the
he's calling 10% as though it's
Like a big
too
deal, right?
much.
Yeah.
Do you know on
We
percentage
run in
here?
the 70% over here.
Unemployment rate. For him, 10% seems to be like
Like
really
really horrible thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
For us, it's worse. Even if it's bad, it could always get worse somewhere else. Like it feel like for him it's like a whole terrible. But for Canadian standard, it could be really bad.
2011. Even prior to the worldwide pandemic, their unemployment was 9.6%. Something unique to Grand Prairie is that the average median age is only 30 years old, which is about 10 years below the national average. This is mainly because a lot of the people are getting jobs in the oil industry which surrounds the city, and these people can make a good amount of money in the oil industry, which leaves them with a lot of disposable income. And in a place sort of in the middle of nowhere with not a lot to do, a lot of people tend to spend their money on drugs, at least according to the RCMP. Joining
correct.
gangs is also a problem in the city. This might explain why one of the largest cocaine busts in history happened in Grand Prairie.
In history, not in Canada.
We next head to Selkirk, Manitoba, which has a CSI score of 193, and over the past 5 years has seen crime increase. Now, this town has a population of just over 10,000 people, yet they've had 2 homicides. So if we were going to make it a homicide rate, that would mean nearly 19 people out of 100,000 would be a victim to a homicide. But here's a real statistic that is quite shocking. Nearly 1,300 people per 100,000 would be a victim of an assault. Nearly 900 per 100,000 would be involved in a breaking and entering situation. These would be the core crimes in Selkirk, as well as impaired driving. So a lot of drunk drivers out there. Youth criminal offenses are also way above the Canadian national average, as are drugs in general. As a matter of fact, there isn't a single crime statistic that is below the Canadian national average for Selkirk. So there's a lot of work to be done in this community that's about a half an hour outside of Winnipeg. And Winnipeg's no treat either.
But question is like, is it possible for somebody to really put in an effort to get a job and they don't get it in Canada? Like, is it that maybe like they
that's
don't?
a good question.
Yeah.
Like you walk around and place document as a Canadian citizen, right?
Yeah.
Place document in this office, go there, go left, go right.
Maybe at the
end-
restaurant or something.
Yes, and at the end of the day, you
don't get a job.
A job with your degree as a degree holder, or
Or maybe some would have a job, but like the job offer would not be like the one they want, or maybe they don't want like the pay. You know what? I have a degree in engineering. If it comes to mopping floors and making money, I would do that. If it comes to cleaning dishes in a restaurant,
making money.
anything to make legal money, guys.
We are down.
Yeah. Anything to make legal money, We're in for it. Not about thinking about your degree and certificate so much. At the end of the day, it's better to have $12 than to have $0 just because you were expecting $20. Yeah. Expect $20. You can work with $12 and you wait for your $20 to come. Apart from working, you gain experience in so many aspects of life, even if it's not in your domain. Well, and at the same time, we are not blaming people who don't have jobs. It's not a blame. Yeah, I feel like in Canada, it is way more easier to get a job than here in my country.
Yeah, it's very, very easy.
Very easy. There are people that are willing to take a job working from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day for 30 days, and they pay them around less than 200 Canadian dollars. There are people that are ready to take such jobs here.
And you
Every
won't even
day,
find a job.
Every day from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. That is exactly 11 hours every day times 30. Right? That's 300, more than 300 hours. If we take 110 times 3, you see, 330 hours of work. That's crazy.
That's extraction. Too much extraction.
It's crazy, bro.
Located roughly halfway between Kamloops and Prince George is the town of Williams Lake, located in the Caribou region. Many people know Williams Lake for its lovely scenery and the Williams Lake Stampede, but I don't think a lot of people realize that it's such a crime-ridden city, and with only a population of 10,700 people, the crime is quite shocking. The biggest crimes here are assault, breaking and entering, and fraud. Impaired driving as well as sexual assault has gone up every year for the past 5 years as well.
When they say fraud, what type of fraud?
Yeah, I think
frauding people out of money, like the scammers we have over here in West Africa, because we have online scammers like fraudsters whose professional work is to scam people mostly from Europe and North America out of their money. They even scam the local people here. If you're not vigilant, especially if
they even scam their neighbors.
Yeah, if you're not vigilant, especially if you are somebody who wants quick money, it's easy for you to get scammed. Somebody can ask you online to send them some money so they can quickly invest it into something and give you back 100% in 2 days, and then you give it. If you're not just dumb, it doesn't make sense. How about they just take their own money and multiply and keep it for themselves?
Yeah, and not how to.
Yeah, like
we need this.
Why do you need my money to multiply and then give me back? And people do always give the money. I even heard people were paying somebody to make them have money. I'm asking myself, if you could make people have money, how about you just make it for yourself?
Yes.
And not have people pay
you to make them have money.
And then I think about it for a second and say, yep, that's brilliant. That's another way of making money. They're just paying you to make money, to have the money. You are going to claim them, then you have it by yourself. It's a round circle, by the way.
Has gone up every year for the past 5 years as well. Thankfully, as a whole, Williams Lake is the only city on this list that is actually seeing crime go down over previous years. So there is some success here. While overall crime is going down, everything is still above the national average. But there is progress and a glimmer of hope that things could get better in Williams Lake. Part of this decline might be because of extensive RCMP activity to try and stop the drug trade that goes between here, Quesnel, and Prince George. Overall, the CSI score is 204 for Williams Lake.
That's crazy. Wow.
In 6th place is Saskatchewan's 3rd largest city, Prince Albert. With a population of 37,500, it has a CSI score of 238. I'll just say this right off the bat. Prince Albert is ranked 4th in all of Canada for violent crimes. 4th place, including all the large cities. Property crime is 180% above the national average, violent crime is 163% above the national average, and total crime is 175% above the national average. What is going on here? 12,859 people per 100,000 will be involved in some sort of criminal incident in this city. The biggest issues in this city seem to be robberies, breaking and entering, fraud, property crimes, and a surprising number of assaults. While still above the national average, I guess you can say that drug trafficking is lower than others on this list. Unemployment.
I mean, here in my city, there's a small town. Here in Yaoundé, in the central province, there's a small town. We call it Mvan, M-V-A-N. You can search it. You can be literally assaulted and getting robbed in the middle of the day, and the policeman is literally meters away from you, looking you right in the eyeball and doing absolutely nothing. No, it is not something I've heard from someone. I have been a victim. I traveled from the village and I came and dropped at the bus agency. I bought 5 liters of vegetable oil and I stood beside the road to get a taxi. A guy literally walks up to me and grabbed the container and was dragging it from my hand, and the policeman was right there looking at me like, okay, I'm doing it.
Did you end up giving the container?
For who? To who? For what?
Like how?
I dragged it out of his hand and there were about 4 or 3 of them. And they were all gathering on me before I could run in. I ran into their taxi and then he drove me away.
Like seriously?
Honestly. And I had 400,000 on me. And luckily I'd put my phone in my jacket inside because if my phone was in my hand,
They would have
absolutely they would have taken it. They would have.
Why the police is there looking at you?
Yeah.
When they are there to protect people, they instantly watch and see how...
They don't give a slipper of what the hell is happening to you. As long as you cannot pay the money, that's up to you.
Isn't horrible here. It's only 5.6% as of September 2021, and the median household income, while below the national average, is decent. So this crime might all be related to people not having anything to do. You are in a rather remote northern community, far away from everything. A lot of this has to do with gang activity, it seems. In the month of June 2021, the Prince Albert Police Service said that they responded to 560 calls of violent crime alone. The police service says that the majority of this is because of gang activity. Hopefully things will calm down in Prince Albert because right now, things aren't looking too good.
Okay. Careful, Prince Albert.
We head back to Manitoba to the small town of Portage, Prairie, with a population of about 14,000 people and a CSI score of 263. Portage La Prairie is ranked the 3rd most violent city in all of Canada. For example, the assault rate is over 1,500 per 100,000 people. Breaking and entering is 1,700 per 100,000 people. And
I don't understand when they say 1,700 people per 1,000 people are...
Per 100,000.
Per 100,000 people are...
Experiencing breaking and entering.
Okay, means that they experience thieves entering in their homes.
Breaking into their home. Yeah.
Okay.
That is like an average. That's like an average.
I was also reasoning it like that, and then I was thinking that maybe out of that 100,000 population, maybe close to 1,700 are involved in the breaking of people's homes.
No, it says that out of those 100,000 people, close to 1,700 experience the breaking. Yeah.
Makes sense.
People seem to drive impaired here a lot. Just doing a quick scan of local news outlets, you can see that places are getting robbed here all the time. Total crime is 304% above the national average. Violent crime is 352% above the national average. And property crime is nearing 300% above the national average and getting worse over the past 5 years. As a matter of fact, they were 4th in the nation for the highest crime increase over the past half decade. The poverty rate is also very high, as it is around 26%. So
the thing is about Canada is that at least the good news I like about it is that they have this data. They have this statistic, right?
Yes.
They can say if crime is increasing in that community or is reducing, it has multiplied by this number of but it's a number of times.
yeah.
Yeah. This year it has increased. This year it has reduced. It makes the government monitor it and know how to deal with the community.
Yes.
Yeah, but here nobody will be able to tell you such data. Nobody knows because nobody measures it. Honestly, nobody knows. If it's homicide, yeah. If it's violent, breaking and whatever, nobody's taking data. They will break into somebody's house and you can't do anything.
Nothing at all.
My neighbor just beside my house, literally less than 200 meters away, they broke into her house using voodoo. There are 5 people in the house. Everybody is sleeping, and they removed the TV, the laptops, and everything, all the phones from the house. Nobody woke up. Okay, they are not just breaking in like normal breaking. They use some sort of magic, and then they break into the house, and you will be sleeping until
and put everybody deep
Yes.
asleep.
everybody will be sleeping till they leave the house. She only woke up at 3 a.m. because she goes in the restaurant to prepare for her restaurant and then noticed that the door was open. Yeah, everything was gone. That's why I never lock my door and remove the key. The key remains there. Even if voodoo works, it doesn't work against technology. Yeah.
That's true.
Besides all the types of different property crimes, robberies, theft, breaking and entering, drug crimes are also very high in the city. This might have a correlation with their very high youth crime rate. Bored youth in a town surrounded by prairie and far away from the nightlife of Winnipeg and whatever goes on in Brandon. Wetaskiwin in Alberta has long been known by locals for its horrible crime. It has a CSI score of 270 and only a population of 12,800. Crime is so bad that after much lobbying, the city was finally able to get a $5.1 million grant to add 10 additional RCMP members to help fight the crime issue. So how bad is the crime? Well, every single crime category is above the national average. There were 220 assaults in this small town, meaning the per capita rate was 1,700 per 100,000. Property crime and breaking and entering is huge, as well as the robbery rate, which is exorbitant. Fraud is a major issue, as is impaired driving. Drug offenses are up all across the board. About the only positive thing you can say is that the youth crime is only slightly above the national average. Not too long ago, between 2012 and 2017, the city was known for having the fastest growing crime in the country. The place even made national news because of the crime outbreak that was happening in such a hurry. Gang activity has long been an issue in the communities around Wetaskiwin, but now it's in the city. One of the popular things, of course, is breaking and entering, but car thefts are also extremely high. Some sources say a car is stolen or broken into every single day. Cars do cost cheaper in Wetaskiwin, as you will hear in radio ads, but how many of those automobiles in the used car dealerships as you drive into town are actually there legitimately? Nevertheless, Wetaskiwin has had the highest growth rate in crime over the past 5 years in Canada, and it shows no signs of slowing down.
Please tell us if you know any of this town or you're watching from any of these towns.
We'd like to know.
We have to know, like, if this is true or it's just internet banter.
Yeah.
Like, it's just internet banter or something like that. But tell us.
And yes, please do not forget to support us in our Buy Me a Coffee page.
Yeah.
So we can be able to travel to
Canada very soon. Thank you. Thank you. I know you're going to support. And you that you have supported. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You've probably heard that if something looks too perfect, it probably is, and something is actually rotten in Denmark. And if you drive into Quesnel, you think, wow, this is a very pretty town. But the darkness is in the numbers, specifically the crime. The CSI score is 292 and ranks it third in all of Canada. The town's population is just 10,200 people, and they actually had a homicide last year. There were 127 assaults, meaning the assault rate was 1,200 per 100,000 people. There were also over 20 robberies, 183 breaking and entering incidents, and over 120 cases of fraud in the city. That puts its fraud rate at almost 1,200 per 100,000 people, and its breaking and entering rate at almost 1,800 per 100,000 people. Property crime is 411% above the national average, violent crime is 255% over, and total crime is 372% over. Quesnel ranks second in all of Canada for the highest percentage increase in crime. A lot of this is probably tied to its extremely high poverty rate, 25%. The unemployment rate is also high and ranges between 10% to 14% depending on the source. So even though this place may be in a beautiful location, there seems a lot needs to be done to make it beautiful for all the citizens.
Yes, sir.
We head back to Manitoba one last time to the city of Thompson, which has a CSI score of 366 and a population of just 14,000 people. But because this is sparsely populated Manitoba, that makes it the 4th largest city in the province. This is also the most remote city on this list. It is far, far away in the northern region of Manitoba, 760 kilometers from Winnipeg, which is about 473 miles. So you're thinking, in a small town like this, how bad could it possibly be?
Yeah.
There were 3 homicides. There were 925 assaults last year. That puts it at an incident rate of 6,500 per 100,000 people. There were 50 sexual assaults. That puts it at a rate of 340 per 100,000 people. Over 106 known incidents of breaking and entering, and a high level of drug trafficking, as well as public drunkenness. Thompson has its own separate score known as a Violent Crime Severity Index score, and that is 570. The national average is 82, which ranks it the most violent city in all of Canada. Not only that, it is the most violent city per capita in all of North America. Now, there's no clear poverty rate information or unemployment rate data for Thompson, but the majority of its population is Aboriginal, and the Aboriginal poverty rate in Manitoba is 65% as of 2019, which is down from the 76% in 2011. So it might be safe to say that a lot of Thompson's woes are tied to unemployment and poverty rate. There's also a lot of homelessness. And before we go to the next place on this list, you might want to hear this. Property crime is 828% above the national average. Violent crime is 978% above the national average. And total crime is 865% above the national average.
I think this town is not joking about it. They are breaking all the records, like literally. Whoa.
I think the average is, national average is
82%.
82%. And
Paul!
then at 800 and something
900,
percent.
1,000%. That's crazy.
Clearly, a lot needs to be fixed here.
Yeah. So much a lot.
And lastly, at number 1, the most dangerous small city/town in Canada is North Battleford, Saskatchewan, with a CSI score of 385 and a population of 14,400 people. If you remember from our Most Dangerous Big Cities in Canada video, the most dangerous cities in Canada were from Saskatchewan, Regina, Saskatoon, and it's no different in the small category either. There were 281 assaults, putting it at a rate of about 2,000 per 100,000 people would be assaulted in the community. There were also 30 known sexual assaults and tons of firearm offenses. There were almost 300 breaking and entering incidents, resulting in 2,000 per 100,000 people, and fraud being very high on the list. Robbery is also quadruple the national average. Drinking and drug offenses are also well above the national average. Youth crime is ridiculously high. We could have just saved a bunch of time and I would have just said, everything is above the national average. Over the past handful of years, crime continues to get worse in the city, though not at as fast a rate as other cities. As a matter of fact, in some instances, crime is going down, but it's just so high, it just doesn't amount to much. Gang activity is so high that the police had to make a gang task force. Drug trafficking, firearm trafficking, there's just a lot of bad stuff going on here. In 2020,
I don't really know Canada for having gangs. I don't know that. I don't think of gangs as Mexico and the United States.
Gangs in such a way that friends that come.
A gang is like a serious group where you get initiated into.
Yeah.
They have their code, they have their tattoo, they have their rules that you don't break. You know,
It can be very dangerous.
it's a cult. It's a cult.
police had to make a gang task force. Drug trafficking, firearm trafficking, there's just a lot of bad stuff going on here. In 2020, there were 6,222 total incidents of crime. So before we go, property crime is 503% above the national average. Violent crime is 469% above. And total crime is almost 500% above the national
Seems to be
average,
less than
giving
Thompson.
North Battleford the prestigious title as the most dangerous small city in all of Canada. So there you have it, the most dangerous small cities and towns in all of Canada. And if this video makes you kind of sad, well, don't be, because you can be the change to make these places better. All it takes is a few local citizens who are concerned about what's going on in their city to speak up to local leaders, who will then hopefully take the proper steps needed to make things better. Because don't we all just want a safe place to live? Anyways, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Maybe even share some ideas that you've made of positive change in your community. Hit the bell.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we're also going to be checking out the safest small towns in Canada. Yes, it's just a natural follow-up. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
love you and we respect you. Take care of yourself and always be happy.
Always.
Good night.